And that is exactly what I want to talk about today. So stay with me, because this matters. Most people are living inside a bubble they did not even choose. You wake up, you go through your day, you come home, and you do it all over again. And somewhere in the middle of all that routine, you forget something important. The world is massive. There are mountains you have never stood on, oceans you have never touched, cities that would completely change the way you see life. And most people are not experiencing any of it. Not because they do not want to, not because they do not dream about it, but because daily life has a way of shrinking your world down to just the space between your home and your job. Think about what a typical week looks like for most people. The alarm goes off, you drag yourself out of bed, you go to work, you come home exhausted, you pay your bills, and then you do it all over again the next day. Monday bleeds into Friday, January bleeds into December, and before you know it, another year has passed. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there is this quiet little voice that says, I really want to travel. I want to see the world. Maybe one day. But one day never seems to actually show up. The trip to Italy gets pushed back. The cruise you have been eyeing stays in your browser as a saved tab you never book. Life just keeps moving, and those travel dreams slowly start to feel less like plans and more like fantasies. And that right there is the problem most people never stop to address. But here is the thing. One day does not just show up on your calendar. It does not magically appear between your Monday meetings and your Friday exhaustion. That version of your life, the one where you are actually out there seeing the world, experiencing new cultures, breathing different air, that does not happen by accident. It has to be built on purpose. And the first step in building it is getting honest about what is actually standing in your way. Because most people never stop long enough to ask that question. They just keep moving through the routine, telling themselves the timing is not right, that things will open up eventually. But eventually has a way of never coming. So let us slow down for just a second and get real about the two things that almost everyone points to when they explain why they have not traveled the way they truly want to. And that is exactly what we are going to get into. Because there is absolutely a smarter way forward. When you get honest about it, it almost always comes down to two things: time and money. Those are the two reasons people give over and over again. I do not have enough time. I cannot afford it. And look, I get it. Those feel like real walls. But here is what I want you to consider. They are not permanent limitations. They are problems. And problems have solutions. The difference between someone who travels consistently and someone who never does is not luck. It is not that one person was born into more money or had more free days on the calendar. It is that one person decided to find a smarter way and actually went looking for it. Time and money are real challenges, but they are challenges you can work around. That changes everything. Your mindset, your energy, your entire outlook on life. What if travel did not have to drain your bank account? What if instead of saving up for years just to take one big trip, you could actually save money while traveling? And do it not just once, but every single year? I am not talking about some far-fetched fantasy. I am talking about making travel a normal, recurring part of your actual life. Not a reward you earn after decades of hard work. Not something you squeeze in once every few years when the stars align. But a real, consistent rhythm where you are always planning the next destination, the next experience, the next memory. They just keep pushing those moments further and further into the future, waiting for the right time that somehow never quite arrives. Think about someone at the very end of their life, looking back at everything. They are not lying there thinking about the electric bill from 2014. They are not replaying stressful Monday mornings or remembering how many hours they logged at a job. What they remember are the moments. The trip to Italy where they got lost in a tiny village and stumbled into the best meal of their life. The cruise where they watched the sun set over the ocean with someone they loved. The weekend they finally said yes instead of maybe one day. Those are the things that stay. Those are the things that actually matter when everything else fades away. The way you think about travel will never be the same again. Right now, as you are watching this video, there are people standing on the beaches of Greece, snorkeling in the crystal clear waters of the Maldives, watching the northern lights dance across the sky in Iceland, relaxing in Fiji, and sailing through the Caribbean. Real people, not celebrities, not millionaires. Everyday people just like you and me. And here is the part that most people do not realize. They are not paying what the average person pays for those experiences. But there is another way. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. When you book a hotel or a cruise online, you go to a site, you see a price, and you just pay it. You assume that is the price. That is just how it works. But that is not how it works for everyone. There is a whole world of discount travel that most people do not even know exists. We are talking about saving on hotels, resorts, and cruises. We are talking about getting access to nicer places, better rooms, better experiences, for significantly less than what the average person pays. And the contrast is wild when you actually see it. Most people just open a browser, search for a hotel, book it at full price, and move on. Here is the real difference between the average traveler and the people who travel the most and visit the absolute best places in the world. It is not luck. It is not that they were born into money. It is access. Plain and simple. The average person goes online, searches for a hotel, sees the price, maybe winces a little, and books it anyway because they think that is just what it costs. But the people who travel consistently, who stay at 5-star resorts and book luxury cruises without draining their bank accounts, they have access to something different. They are working with a different set of options that most people do not even know exist. And that is the key word here. Access. Because once you have it, your entire relationship with travel shifts. Suddenly, the places you thought were out of reach become reachable. The experiences you kept pushing to someday become this year. Access is the game changer, and not everyone has been shown the door. What if that conversation could actually put money back in your pocket? What if travel did not just cost you money, but could actually help you make money too? Think about that for a second. The travel industry is not some small niche corner of the economy. We are talking about a $1 trillion global industry, one of the largest on the entire planet. Every single day, millions of people are booking flights, reserving hotel rooms, planning cruises, and spending money on experiences around the world. That money is flowing somewhere. It is going to airlines, resorts, booking platforms, and travel companies. The question is, are any of those dollars flowing back to you? That is the opportunity. People are already traveling. Right now, someone is booking a flight, reserving a hotel, planning a cruise. That is happening with or without you. The question is, are you positioned to benefit from any of that? What if instead of just being the person spending money on travel, you could also be the person saving money on travel, helping others do the same and actually getting something back in return? That is not some complicated concept. That is just being smart about something that is already happening all around you every single day. It starts small, it starts real, and it starts with people you already know and trust. We are not talking about building some giant corporation from scratch. Think about your own life for a second. You probably know at least a few friends who have mentioned wanting to go on a vacation. You have family members who take trips every year. You know people who are already spending money on travel right now. That is really all you need to get started. When you are positioned correctly, and the people around you are saving money and having incredible experiences because of something you introduced them to, that is when things start to naturally grow on their own. It does not have to be complicated. And honestly, I think it matters to you too, which is exactly why you are still watching right now. This is not just about saving money or building something on the side. This is about how I actually want to live my life. I do not want to be 80 years old sitting in a rocking chair thinking about all the places I never went. I do not want to look back and say I had the chance and I let fear or excuses or the daily grind talk me out of it. That is not the story I want to tell. I want to be the person who can sit down with their grandkids and genuinely say I saw the world. I walked those streets. I stood on those beaches. I was actually there. That matters to me on a deep level. And look, I get it. I really do. Because I have heard it 1,000 times, and honestly, I have probably said it myself at some point. I do not have the time. I do not have the money. Maybe later. Maybe when things settle down. But here is what I have come to realize. That is not actually the truth. That is just the story we keep telling ourselves because nobody ever sat us down and showed us a different way to do this. The real problem is not that travel is out of reach. The real problem is that most people have only ever seen one way to do it. The expensive way, the full price way, the plan it once every few years and hope for the best way. And when that is the only model you have ever been shown, of course it feels impossible. But what if that model was never the only option available to you in the first place? So if any part of this resonates with you, keep watching, because what comes next is going to matter. The vision is simple. Travel every single year. Visit the destinations you have always dreamed about. Stay in nicer places than you normally would, and actually save money doing all of it. Then on top of that, build something on the side that supports the whole lifestyle. That is it. That is the whole picture. No complicated system, no unrealistic promises, just a smarter way to live and experience the world. And honestly, when I lay it out like that, I have to ask, why would anyone not at least look into that? You feel present, energized, and alive in a way that your everyday routine simply cannot give you. I have personally been in that place where everything just felt heavy. Low energy, no motivation, going through the motions every single day. You wake up and something just feels off, but you cannot quite explain it. And what I have found, not just for myself but talking to so many other people, is that sometimes the answer is not a new job or a new routine. Sometimes what you genuinely need is a complete change of environment. Just getting out of your normal surroundings, breathing different air, seeing something new, experiencing life from a different angle. It is like hitting a reset button on your entire mindset. Something shifts inside you. You start feeling like yourself again. That is the shift I want for you. Travel is not a luxury. I know that is a bold thing to say, but I mean it with everything in me. It is not something you earn after you have checked every box in life. It is not a reward for when things finally settle down. Travel is a necessity, just like sleep, just like connection, just like purpose. Your mental health needs it. Your happiness depends on it more than you probably realize. So here is what I want you to sit with for a moment. Think about where you could be just 1 year from now. Not 5 years, not someday, not when everything is perfect. 1 year. 12 months from today, you could have already booked the trip, already packed your bags, already landed in a country you have never seen before. You could have already walked through streets that felt completely foreign and completely alive at the same time. Already checked into a resort that took your breath away the second you walked through the door. Already lived one of those experiences that you will honestly never stop talking about. And here is the best part. You would not just be sitting in that memory. You would already be planning the next one. That is the life that is available to you. That is what becomes possible when you stop waiting and start moving in the right direction. Let us get out there. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because that moment is never coming. There will always be another bill, another reason, another excuse. But the world is not going to pause for you. It is moving right now, and there are experiences out there with your name on them. Start asking questions. Start getting curious. Reach out. Do the research. Take that first small step. You do not need to have everything figured out before you begin moving forward. And remember that kid you used to be, the one who wanted to see everything, go everywhere, and experience it all.